Welcome back to SiteTech Intermountain Siteworks training videos. In this video, I want to show you how to bring background images into your Siteworks program here. So what I mean by this is if you go into your gear on the right side right here, and you've got all these options at the top right here, there's one in the middle called Images, Display Background Image. You can check this box and actually have images that show up in the background. If you're not familiar with what this looks like, it's a lot like here in Trimble Business Center, where if you have PDF images brought in the background, you can go ahead and see what they are in conjunction or behind your line work. This is the storm drain callout sheet, and then this one is kind of the grading sheet in the background. These need to be captured and brought in separately. There's a couple others that I like. The other one is to turn on the background image for Google Earth. That also helps for referencing to existing stuff that's there or previous stuff that was there. The other one that I like is just this black background. It's kind of a little hack that I've came up with. I'm going to show you how to export these out and where to place them in SCS 900 so they show up in your data collector. If you have Trimble Business Center, this is how you do it. If not, this is how to ask someone that's providing this data for you. At the top ribbons here, there's one that's called CAD. If you turn on CAD and then come over here to where this box says Images, if some of these don't show up, all you got to do is just hover over the top of it and it will actually tell you what it is. So this one in the top right is Capture Image. So in here in Capture Image, I'm going to call this one the black background. Now on the resolution, I'm going to put that as very high. That one makes a big difference, at least on the ones where you've got wording that you need to try to zoom in on and not get fuzzy. Now right here, all you need to do is if you have a plot box, you can make a plot box around this and actually take it that way or make it stay inside that. The other way is literally just kind of square up. You don't want to be in like this or way out like this. I just kind of square it up and give myself just a little extra room right here and go ahead and hit apply. So now you can see here under images, I've got one and it's named. So I'm just going to systematically go through each one of these that I want to make. Now I'm going to turn on the Google Earth background image. We'll just call this the Google Earth. Very high, same thing, just systematically go ahead and snap these. If you want a bigger image, you do need to zoom out a little further. Now I'm going to turn on my grading sheet here, and I'll turn off my Google Earth. And I'm going to just kind of square up like this. Call this one the grading sheet. We'll apply on that one. Turn that off, and very last, I'm going to turn on my storm drain callout sheet. So we'll call this storm drain sheet. We'll go ahead and apply that. So now that I've got all four of those in here, that's really all I needed to do in here. If you need to find those, you got to find your root folder for your project here. That's where I have my stuff stored. So here's the root folder, and here's where those files would have shown up under snapshots. So what I do, you may not need the KML. The KML doesn't really show up in there. It's more the JGW and JPG, but just to make things easier, sometimes I just highlight the entire thing. I go ahead and copy that. And then if you were on your data collector, you need to go to your data collector and put them on a thumb drive. I'm using the emulator here today, so I'm going to go into my PC and I'm going to just go to what's called the synchronizer data PC, and it's SCS 900 data. This is where the root folder is for all your projects, and the one that I'm running is this SiteTech Hurricane Bootcamp, which has got my designs, work orders, CSV file, all that. But there's a folder in here called background images. All you do is open that up and simply paste all of those files into the background images in the root folder. You don't actually import them in from the actual screen itself. So if I go back here to my project, since I just brought those in and it was currently open, I'm simply going to go to my menu, go to project setup, change project. I'm not going to change anything. I'm just simply going to refresh the program itself. Now, if I go back into the gear and go to images, and I check this box and drop this down, I have all 4 of those images. So I'll show you, each one of them can be changed with the transparency. So I'm going to turn on the black background. I can change the transparency to whatever I want, how much I want to see. So if you want to actually have more of a gray background, leave it at 10%. If you want a nice dark background, hit apply. This kind of helps pop out the line work. That's why I came up with this as a little bit of a hack, because out in the daylight it's a little bit harder to see sometimes. So there is the dark background image behind your line work. Everything is still selectable. You can still do your normal work, stake lines, measure surfaces, all of that at the same time. You can go back into images and change it in between any of those. I can go to Google Earth now, turn on my Google Earth image in the background if I needed to reference anything. That one's a little bit fuzzy just because of how it comes out of Trimble Business Center. And we'll go ahead and go through a couple more here. Let's turn on the grading sheet. And then the reason why I had you do very, very high on the resolution is you can see that even with very high resolution, some of these lines, the contour lines and the other callouts, as you zoom in more and more, get a little fuzzy, but it's not too bad at all. So this is what it would look like for the grading sheet. So if we go in here and go to the storm drain, in here, when you go ahead and go to try to stake boxes, if it would help you, now as you're staking the box, you have a reference for the rim elevation, inlet, outlet, etc., for that. These grading sheets are and storm drain sheets are really, really helpful in the background. And then one more thing, let me just show you what the transparency looks like. It doesn't have to be full bore in the background. It can kind of be faded down a little bit. So that is how you put background images into Siteworks. And then if you don't need them on, the nice part is you can just turn them off. They don't have to be on there all the time. They're just when you need them and what you need them. So hopefully this video helped from Site Tech Intermountain on Siteworks training videos, bringing background images into Siteworks.